Well, hello there, and welcome to the Mix 6 podcast as part of The Mix, the UK's #1 digital support service for young people. From content to community to counselling to crisis, whatever you're going through, we are here for you. And if you don't know much about the Mix 6 podcast, we're all about one guest and 6 questions around the topics that matter to young people. However, for this unique episode, we have 6 questions. So 6 guests. And I was going to say one question, but we actually still have 6 questions because today we're talking all about volunteering and volunteering for the Mix in particular. So without further ado, I have some lovely company for this episode, and we're going to head straight into our first question of the day. I don't know who wants to go first, but our first question is, can you start by introducing yourself and telling us what your role is here at The Mix?
So my name is Nisha, and I'm volunteering with The Mix as a counsellor.
My name is Layla, and I volunteered for The Mix for 3.5 years as a group chat moderator, and then I also dabbled on the boards, and now I work for The Mix as well.
Hi, my name's Fraser. I'm a volunteer counsellor. I've been with The Mix for about 4.5 years now. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Meg. So I haven't been with The Mix as long as the rest of you guys. I've only been with The Mix for about 8 months. So I do the support group chat. So I moderate that and make that kind of a safe space for young people.
It's quite a good mixed bag in this episode today. We have people from the counselling side and we have people from the support and the community side as well. I think what we'll start with the community, with yourselves, Layla and Megan. And I wanted to find out, I guess, with you, Layla, because you are a person of many hats when it comes to The Mix. How did you first hear about The Mix, and what inspired you to get involved with them?
I first heard about The Mix when I just finished my psychology degree, and I didn't want to go straight into working, so I wanted to work out something meaningful that I could do beforehand. So, and I also realised that I really did want to take phone calls and help people over phone calls. So I think I typed in text-based mental health support, and The Mix it came up quite high up on the search bar. So I clicked it, and then everything just seemed really good vibes, like the way that the articles were written and everything. It felt very youth-centred and youth-led.
I think I can kind of reiterate what you've just said, Layla, that, I started volunteering for Shout. So I volunteered for Shout for, I want to say, 2 years now. And obviously, because my research is all about digital mental health, that's what I've done lots of research in. I started to search up, digital mental health based charities, and I'd never heard of The Mix before. I feel like there's not as much advertisement for it. I just had never heard of it, and that come up. So this was before The Mix and the Shout, kind of come together. I started volunteering for The Mix, and I saw that they were advertising kind of support group chats, and I just nearly finished my psychology and counselling degree, and I'm going into my master's next year to train to be a therapist. And I thought, I'm going to do that as well as my Shout to kind of understand more about digital mental health, but help people. That is what it is all down to for me. If I can create a community for young people that is, it's about empathy and acceptance, then I want to do something to help people. So that's kind of what brought me into The Mix.
Amazing. And there's sort of a underlying theme here in that, like, coming to the end of university or thinking about your options after
university.
You're still in The Mix's age bracket up to 25 years old, and it just seems like an obvious choice to go in that route if you're so interested about sort of psychology and that realm. We have Holly back. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. I've moved to my phone, so I'm hoping that works better. My name's Holly. I am a group chat moderator. I do all general chat, and support circle now, which I've just been trained up on. I heard about The Mix through my mum, actually, who'd heard it about someone from her work. She works in a GP, and the psychologist at her work used to volunteer with the mix when she originally left uni and was looking for things to do. So I just graduated and was looking for places to get experience, but also wanted a place to sort of match what I what my morals in that were and wanted to help others. And when I had a look at the mix, it was like that seems like the right fit. So that's how I ended up at the mix.
Nice. It sounds like it's ticking a lot of boxes for people, and I think the great thing about the mix is that it's not just about community. It's, as I said, it's about content and counselling as well, and that's where you, Fraser, and Nisha come into it. And the same question to you both, I guess. Fraser, let's start with you. How did you first hear about the mix, and what was the inspiration behind getting involved in the first place?
So I first joined the mix, I think it was in kind of towards the end of 2020. Just finished my undergraduate counselling degree and was looking to try and get a job. And unfortunately, because the way the world went, everything went online, and all my experience was face to face. So I was looking for some online charities to volunteer for, and at that time I was studying my masters. Stumbled upon the mix, um, and yeah, I've been here ever since. I'd only kind of do 1 or 2 sessions a week because I do work full time. But I just kind of love the community, the flexibility, and kind of working with an age bracket that really needs the support. To be honest, there's a lot of people under the age 25, a lot of teenagers who really kind of need that ongoing support. And yeah, I couldn't fault the mix at all for the support that they give, and that's the reason why I'm still here 4.5 years later.
That's really great to hear. Thank you, Fraser. And Nisha, what was your journey like?
Yes, so to be really honest, mental health is really important to me, and I guess especially because I've seen how challenging it is for young people to find the right support. So I guess that personal connection really inspired me to get involved. And I guess that's when I started looking up in volunteering and I came across the mix and I thought, oh, it's an opportunity for me to go and, become someone that could help someone make a difference and generally really help. So that's when I actually reached out to Mix and here I am counselling.
And here we all are. Thank you so much, Nisha. You can just sense the passion coming from everybody. You obviously have very different and some similar journeys, but there is that drive just to help young people and improve their well-being, and it's just really refreshing to see. We're going to stick with the counselling team for the next question, and I wanted to find out a bit more about what a typical day looks like for you, Nisha. Let's begin with you. When it comes to volunteering at the mix, what does your day look like? You don't have to go all the way back to the alarm clock, but just anything relevant to the mix.
Yeah, that's fine. A typical day will look like me first logging into the platform, scheduling about 30 minutes just before seeing my client. As soon as I'm sat in my platform, just getting set everything up, and then near the time as a scheduled session, I call my client and we have a 15-minute session. Within the session, I do try to make a creative, non-judgmental space where my clients can feel at ease, be themselves. I abide with the confidentiality as well. And yeah, I mean, some of my clients just genuinely simply just want someone to listen to them, while others just really need some guidance. And right after my session, I would just kind of make a log of the interaction, just a little summary of the notes, what I've been doing with the client, check in, check out questions, and possibly what was discussed really, and summarizing what happened.
Nice, thank you, Nisha. And Fraser, is it similar for you, or anything to add to that?
Yeah, so kind of the similar. I kind of log on about half an hour prior to the session, check my internet connection is all okay because I'm video counselling at the moment. Kind of read over the notes of the last session just to kind of refresh my mind a little bit. Yeah, and then just kind of head in with it. I thought I only have 1, maybe 2 a week, so it's not as intense as it could be for some other counsellors who do a lot more hours. So I have quite a lot of time to prepare for my sessions, so it's really nice that way.
Moving on to the community crew now, and a same question for you all. What does a typical day or a session look like? when you volunteer for the mix?
I would say when I was volunteering, I volunteered twice a week, so I'd normally do it on days that I was working. So I would come home from work, have half an hour to the sessions. Normally we start about 7:45 to like set up and brief and things before the chat. So let's say I get home at 6, eat, take the dog out, shower, and then get snacks, run upstairs, and then start the process. Yeah, and then I always made sure to have some kind of music on in the background to get into the zone, to make sure that what music.
Yeah.
This can be a bit nerdy, but normally like video game soundtracks, so they didn't actually have any words, so I wouldn't get distracted by that, but still have something like bouncy to be typing into. And get in the zone so you can really concentrate on what people are saying to you and give it your full attention. And then afterwards, they always give you a space to debrief and chat with your supervisor about anything that's happened in the session.
I'm really interested to hear if anybody else has got a soundtrack to their role now. It's a firm no from Megan. But yeah,
concentrate. I can't listen to music and concentrate. I just thought, I tried. I thought, I'll listen to some music. I'll put my playlist on, and my brain just it cannot do two things at once. Layla, I have a lot of admiration for you doing that. My brain just can't do that.
Do you have anything that does help you get into the zone, Megan?
I kind of stay in my own space, in my room, away from everything. And I feel like when you're moderating these support chats, when I first started doing it, honestly, because my kind of experience is with Shout first. So Shout is, unless you're taking multiple conversations, it's just kind of, you're talking to one person, you're waiting for that person to respond back to you. But with the mix, when I first started volunteering, the messages were coming so fast. I remember writing saying, how am I going to, concentrate on all these messages? But you do kind of learn how to concentrate even when loads of messages are coming through. You kind of focus on specific people, or you'll focus on maybe supporting two people at the same time rather than everybody, and the rest of the moderators will pick up, kind of the rest where you can't support.
So normally I work on my day off, which is Tuesdays. Nice. But it's kind of the same. About half an hour before my shift, I always try and have a look at the brief for the day, see if there's any updates on anything. And then you get into the briefing, and I am the same as Layla. I also listen to music to get me in the headspace. It does differ what type of music depending what chat I'm in, though.
Right.
I notice for general chat, I can listen to basically anything because it's a lot more lighthearted. It's not quite as like, oh, you've got to stay as like, in the zone. You can be a bit more, let them chat. They're there. Whereas if I'm in support, I only listen to classical music. So a lot of ballet pieces, a lot of Tchaikovsky.
Maybe on Sunday I'll try some classical music. I'll report back to see how it goes.
Please do. Moving into question number 4, and I think volunteering in general can be very fulfilling, very rewarding. Wanted to find out a bit more about what you each get from volunteering at the mix. What have been some of your most rewarding experiences? Fraser, you look like you're in deep thought. You're thinking about all of those rewarding experiences. Can you share any for us?
Because it's knowing that I'm there helping someone. I'm on a journey with them, whether it's 4 or 8 sessions. They're kind of dedicated to come, and I'm dedicated there to help give them that support, and just the power of someone just sharing their issues or their life story with you. It's just rewarding in itself, and whether it's a positive outcome or at the end of the session, you realise they may need further counselling elsewhere because the 8 sessions isn't enough. You still know that I was part of their journey, and maybe that first step into trying counselling, people are a little bit reluctant to give it a go, or maybe a little bit nervous. I kind of feel grateful that I was part of that.
I guess one of the most rewarding experiences have been hearing from a young person that our conversations have actually been quite useful, especially in the difficult times. And I think that's what's just kept me motivated to kind of keep volunteering having more sessions with different clients. And that's kept me going. I guess the feedback has been extremely useful. It's made me feel like I've been enough for the client, not just been listening, but giving them what they need. I think what Fraser was saying earlier about tailoring towards their needs, what client needs as well. So I think it's just basically just, having that good feedback, even improvement as well. Taking that on, giving the client the best I can in a way. But yeah, I guess just that feedback has really motivated me to continue going, and it's been really rewarding to hear.
Thank you, Nisha. Beautiful answers so far. Moving into the community side of things, what are these rewarding experiences being part of a volunteer at the Mix? Megan, any that come to mind?
Young people are going through so many letdowns, whether that's mental health support is just so hard now to access, or whether that's family or relationships or, parents or friendships, whatever it is. They're going through so many letdowns. And if you can create a community where you're accepting people, I was saying that it's about unconditional acceptance, and you are accepting people and you are making people feel like they belong and that they matter and they mean something, and that their story matters and they deserve to feel listened to.
When I made a post on the community discussion boards when I became a staff member, and seeing all of the community's reactions to that was just so, everyone was so genuinely excited, and it makes you realise that you're kind of a part of something way bigger than just your 2 hours of volunteering that you do a week, and you really make a massive difference to these people's lives.
I find towards the end of chats, when a lot of the chatters say how much they appreciate just having the space, so being able to just open the chat, because sometimes you don't have enough moderators there to open the chat, and it's like you feel a bit like, oh, like there's not much you can do about it because you need a set amount of moderators. But even being able to have one of the chats open and then be able to have a space, and then when they are able to speak to like their friends they've made on through the Mix, and they actually voice that as well, that's nice to hear, that just being able to be present and have that space open for them so they're able to not feel as alone at night, and they just have somewhere and someone there to speak to. That's always nice to know that they have that space and that they really actually appreciate it, because they don't have it, maybe won't have it at home. And that's just always something I'm like, that's nice to hear, because you always want to be able to have that for them.
Moving into question number 5, quite an interesting question, this one. Have you learned any new skills that you didn't expect to learn from volunteering?
It's kind of helped me learn a lot about myself and what I can give, how much time I can give whilst keeping myself safe. And I guess just learning about everybody else as well, and everyone's individualities, and just how everyone's different, and yeah, that's about it really.
Yeah, I guess I'd say I've learned a lot beyond, especially with the counselling skills. I've learned to develop a stronger empathy, listening skill, you could say, which is definitely crucial, and especially for understanding and supporting young people. And I guess that really matters a lot because it just strengthens the bond as well, the therapeutic bond that you have with the client. So yeah, I've learned a lot. I could give you a list. I've learned a lot of things.
I think I've learned that actually I didn't kind of understand or understand the value of community. That community is so important. I don't think I kind of grasped that when I was volunteering for Shout, because Shout, obviously, like I was saying before, is that one-on-one kind of conversation, but the community is so important. Whether that's moderators talking to each other, or that's making somebody feel like they belong in a group space. Community is important, and feeling like you belong is so important. And I've learned how to now, I can multitask and read what everybody's saying really fast, which I could not do before. And I've learned kind of how to listen more, empathy, just making people feel seen. That skill's kind of developed.
I think I've learned quite a lot, to be honest. I think one of the things when I came into the mix I was quite worried about was making sure that your messages come across the right way. Like, I've always thought sometimes when I message my friends I can be quite blunt. And that's always something I was like when I came to like, right, okay. And I feel I've learned just from other mods and a lot of supervisors just how to word things a lot better, so they come across well, and that they are you're actually saying that you've read their messages properly and you've heard them, so that people actually feel heard.
People's emotions and things they're not like something tangible, right? They're very personal to them. So you're not always going to get the full story from someone. Like, there might be times when you need to break confidentiality or something like that, and you might not hear from the user for a couple of weeks, months, and you don't know necessarily how it's gone. But then just living in that area of knowing, okay, I've done my best, I've done my bit, and hopefully now the best is happening, if you know what I mean. Just being almost, in a weird way, kind of being able to switch off and letting it impact you, but not letting it take over your life. Because I think when you first start, you can really get, because obviously we're all naturally empathetic people, like that's why we want to help people. So being able to help people without dragging yourself down in the meantime, kind of thing.
Moving into our sixth and final question, and I'm going to make this a little bit trickier for you because I want you to try and condense it down into a sentence, but no more than 2 sentences if you really have to. And it's simply, well, it's simple to ask it. I don't know if it's simple to answer it, but it's what's one thing you've learned about yourself since you started volunteering at the Mix? Everybody's eyes just went up to the ceiling. They're just in deep thought, trying to figure out what to say. I'm sure there's many things, but we're looking for one thing, and we'll start with Nisha.
Yeah, you put me on the spot.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I've already had the words anyway, which is great. Yeah, volunteering, I guess, has taught me that I am more patient than I realised.
Something that is really important, what has stuck out to me is, it's kind of like a quote that goes through my head is, you are not what you've been through. Actually, you're a whole person. Yes, you've been through something, but you also have got goals and dreams and ambition, and you are so much more than that. And it's seeing the whole of somebody.
I think I've learned that I'm quite good at compartmentalizing. That was something I was quite shocked to find out. Like, sometimes people bring in issues that you can maybe slightly relate to in a certain sense, and I found I'm quite good at being able to ignore how I would feel about the situation or how I have dealt with that particular situation myself, and focus on what the chatter needs, not what helped me.
I think I've learned that I can switch my therapy brain on quite well. My normal job is similar field, but not therapy per se. And when I do finish work, I could come back and kind of put my therapy head on and get into a session, and it's like I've been doing it all day.
I have a fundamental need to help people. Rather than when I first went into it, I thought it was a want, but I think to be fulfilled, to feel fully fulfilled in like the job I do, the role I do, I need it to kind of be meaningful and help people in a kind of emotive way. That did end up being more than one sentence.
That's fine. It was short and sweet and really lovely as well. And I don't think any of us would be here, including myself, if we didn't think what we were doing was meaningful. And it is clearly, from just chatting to yourselves, making such a meaningful impact on so many young people, and has done for years, which is great. And do you know what? Everybody's story was unique, but there's like that overarching theme that it is making a difference not only to the people that you support, but also to yourselves as well, which is really inspiring. And I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody today for sharing their stories and experiences. We've reached the end. Wasn't that a lovely chat? I thought so. everyone's clapping. For people who are listening today, everyone's clapping and everyone's nodding their head. And if you're listening right now and if you would like to find out more about volunteering opportunities at The Mix, then head on over to themix.org.uk or say hello on our socials at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all the rest of them. It leaves me to say that a huge thank you to Holly, Nisha, Layla, Megan, and Fraser. And we will catch you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.